So CNN aired this segment about food lines, food bank bread lines is essentially what they're called. And I believe this focuses on some places in New Jersey, which is, I grew up in New Jersey. I'm familiar with some of the New Jersey situations, right? I'm not an expert, but I've been to food banks during this pandemic. I know a lot of people, almost everyone I know, has been to food banks during this pandemic, and I've been to food banks before the pandemic, and you can definitely tell that people are getting less quality, more sugary foods, less healthy foods, less vegetables, more like my food bank gives us bread, like white bread, and it's super sugary. It's almost all sugar, the most unhealthy thing you can imagine. Um, and that kind of stuff. Like food banks, they give you what they can. Most of these places are getting strapped for food products, and at the end of the day, the cheapest is the easiest to acquire. So food banks usually just participate in the feedback loop that keeps people unhealthy. So I'm just throwing that out there. I want to top line that. When you resort to a food bank, it means you have very little options left. And in these situations where food banks are so strapped for food and they can only give you, like, again, white bread, for example, it's not like it's just a very bad feedback loop. In the United States of America, right, it's more expensive to be healthy and it's less expensive to be unhealthy. And that's something we need to work on. So, with that critique and that statement applied up front, let's watch some of this
Well, the
little
scene in New
video
Jersey
clip.
today really speaks volumes about the reality for so many Americans right now as they continue to struggle during this pandemic. Look at these cars lined up for miles in East Rutherford, New Jersey. And what's perhaps even more astonishing here is that some willingly waiting 3, 4, 5 hours, right, just to get this food donation to feed their families. And in many cases, this is not just about a holiday meal. This is about daily survival. CNN's Bryn Gingras has been at that distribution point.
Now, I do want to say this, and I want this to be understood. For whatever reason, bootstrap Republican douchebag motherfuckers, they think that, like, oh, if you go to a food bank, it must mean that you're out of food entirely. A lot of people, when they go to food banks, they do so because they fear that they will be out of food. That is the most that exemplifies, I would say, most people that are attending food banks. It's because maybe they've got a week's worth of regular food and they want to have a backup stash. It's something because, again, I've been in my childhood, I've gone over a week without eating when I was a teenager. I had a lot of issues with food insecurity when I was young, and that's what introduced me to a lot of these issues and a lot of these things that makes me so passionate about them, right? So when I was young, right, I would go weeks without eating, like, maybe have like 1 or 2 meals a week at some point. There was this time, and it's very unhealthy. Okay, it's extraordinarily unhealthy. And the very few times that I did eat, it wasn't food that was very healthy. It wasn't like I was eating a full course salad with, like, nutritious fucking bullshit. I was eating stuff like white bread with almost no nutritional content, that kind of stuff, right? And that's what you have to understand. So a lot of people go to food banks because they fear that they have food insecurity, right? So that's another thing to understand. So just throwing that out there, that's why people are going like the week before Thanksgiving. They might have the ability to have like a nice Thanksgiving, but that means that they won't have that much food afterward. So these are calculations that people make. Spend 20, 30 bucks of the money I can on Thanksgiving. We'll do a nice little celebration. We'll keep our spirits up because morale is not even half the battle, it's most of the battle, right? If you become depressed and you have a family to feed, that's not going to help your situation, right? And I definitely do not blame anyone. So, again, I'm just throwing out some context here, give you more of an understanding of why there are so many people attending food banks.
All day. And Bryn, the need there, like we're seeing in so many places across the country, is sadly far exceeding the demand.
It's true, Erica. And when you see people come in their cars and they're literally crying as they receive those meals in the trunk of their car, it just shows you how desperate people are feeling and how important these causes are. I want to show you the line of cars. What you saw earlier, you just showed your viewers, that was from this morning's distribution here at the Meadowlands YMCA. Right now, as we zoom in, you see those cars lined up. Every single car is a family, multiple families in some cases, who are waiting to get these free meals. Further down, I can see a family right now who brought brought a soccer ball just to keep their kids occupied because they've been waiting here for 2-3 hours just to get those meals again. And let's keep in mind, Erica, we are in a county in this country. It's one of the wealthiest counties in the entire country. And this is the need we're seeing. Davide, go down this line so you can see. I mean, it stretches. Earlier this morning, it was about 2 miles. It's a little less than that, but typically...
One thing I want to stipulate here, and I'm not sure if I'm going to play the full video clip here, but you can go click it on your own if you'd like. But one thing I want to stipulate is a lot of people are saying, oh, well, it's a wealthy county. All these people, why are they going to food banks, right, et cetera, et cetera. So you have to understand, we are in an unprecedented, and if it ever has been precedented, you could say it was the last time these situations have ever occurred, right, were like over 100 years ago when our entire mode of living was entirely different. So shut the fuck up with that shit, okay? So this is an unprecedented pandemic depression combination, okay? There's a lot of people that started off the year 2020, right, in a perfect spot, right? They just got a promotion, right? Their careers were going wonderfully. Everything was great. Maybe they just got a new house, right? Things were going great. And then the pandemic hit, the depression hit. And a lot of these people fall through the cracks. A lot of these people's jobs are never coming back, right? So when you go from making, right, 80 to, like, let's say $120,000 a year, something like that, you know, very comfortable, you know, and you're, you know, that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden you have no job, because even at that range, there's still no job security for a lot of people. So you have no job all of a sudden, right? So yeah, that's why people have, oh, you have a TV, but you can't feed your family? Well, maybe I guess you could make the argument that they could sell the TV, but sell it to who? Who's buying the TV? Who's going to buy this television during a pandemic depression where 40% of people can't even pay the rent, right? So that whole theory of just, oh, bootstrapping your way through it, it's ridiculous garbage, okay? It's ridiculous fucking garbage. People have been bootstrapping their way through their entire lives, right? And now because this government failed to protect the people from a virus, these people are losing everything that they've ever had, okay? And it's ridiculous, it's disgusting, and it's awful. And this country needs to be fucking, like, the government needs to be just, it needs to be, like, completely overhauled, right? And Biden is not going to do that. Biden's not going to come in and say, all right, you know, we're going to do what we really need to do. That's not happening. Our one chance was Bernie fucking Sanders. And even then, that was kind of a far-fetched shot. I'm not even sure if Bernie Sanders' agenda could even get like a quarter of the way through, even with the context that we have right now. But Biden's not even going to fucking try to bring us out of this crisis, okay? These problems are not going away. They're going to be here for a long time, and we need to fucking learn how to help people, right? We need to start mass producing unhealthy food. We need to stop subsidizing high fructose corn syrup. We need to start subsidizing healthier foods. We need to start subsidizing food banks. We need to start subsidizing more programs like food stamps. We need to start helping more people with the things that they need and stop helping people get the things that they don't need. If the only thing you can purchase to eat every night is a white bread sandwich, you're not going to be a very healthy person. Your immune system is not going to be at top functional capacity. You're probably going to get sick. You're probably going to, you know, make someone else's life, a little bit worse because, oh, you lost your job because you got sick, so now they have to take on more responsibilities. Oh, hey, you're on a bus from home, to work, and then you got someone else sick and they lost their job, like that kind of situation. Public health is for the good of everybody, and public health includes diet, it includes nutrition, it includes having access to food. Dumbass motherfucking Republicans, I swear to God, and the Democrats too. This is disgusting. Anybody that has helped in any capacity to facilitate this occurring in the United States of America should be held on trial, and they should be held up for crimes against humanity. This is the richest country in the entire motherfucking world, okay? In the history of the world, this is the most rich fucking country, and we are starving our poor. You should judge a country by how it treats its most vulnerable people. All right? And how we treat our most vulnerable people is with disregard, right? My mom taught me if I ever saw a homeless person on the street that I shouldn't even look at them. Don't pay them any attention because then they might talk to you. That's what I was taught. And I was a poor fucking motherfucker when I was a kid. So even my poor family, right, they taught me these people that are even poorer than us, we still can't help them. We have to look down on them. Why? Because that's ingrained into our brains. That's the American way. That's how this country was built. Because this country is built on poisoning its citizens, both in mind and in body, right? And they have like a really good, is it symbiotic? I don't know. There you go. That's the end.